Welcome to the Chapter 6 summary of Butler's DMT Field Guide. The title of this chapter is DMT Can Help. Let's continue the dialogue. Before I get into the actual content of the chapter, I would like to say with sincerity and humility, thank you to all the people who have helped share the message and who have helped continue the dialogue. When I published this book a little less than 2.5 years ago, I had no idea what continuing the dialogue would look like, if my message would be shared, or how or if it would even resonate. My life has changed in many incredible ways since publishing this book, and one of the most beautiful aspects is the conversations and dialogues that I've been able to share with people all around the world. Since the book has come out, I've done over 50 interviews on podcasts. The book is sold in over a dozen countries. I've sold thousands of copies, and probably most importantly, I've had personal and heartfelt conversations with dozens and dozens of people. So again, thank you for all the podcast hosts, the readers of my book, the fans, the people that have written letters, people that have connected with me on social media, for doing just that, continuing the dialogue and sharing the message of the power of DMT. So again, thank you. I start the chapter by saying that after my exploration into dimethyltryptamine and the literature on it, that there are capable and competent people that are discussing these topics. There are many doctors, there are many PhD students, there are universities that are studying the molecule. That being said, there still is a taboo associated with psychedelics in general, and certainly with DMT. But that's the whole point of continuing the dialogue, is to add more data points to the conversation and to make people more comfortable in sharing their story. I mentioned in the book, mind-expanding chemicals such as DMT have been utilized by our species for thousands and thousands of years on the individual and group level to gain access to ancient wisdom and infinite power, as well as to explore the dimensions of consciousness. Ancient shamans and spiritual leaders understood the beneficial effects of using this natural compound and gave it the reverence and respect that it deserves. DMT is not just another drug to get high off of. It is not just some novelty topic for a PhD thesis, and it is not just a taboo subject for an inspiring author to discuss in their debut book. DMT allows you to converse with gods, dance with your guardian angels, and collaborate with higher beings. DMT has the ability to remove all mental restrictions, obliterate all apprehension, and dissolve physiological boundaries. DMT is the spirit molecule, the miracle molecule, and in my personal case, the life-saving molecule. DMT can help, that is undeniable, but the dialogue needs to be continued. I mention often in my podcast as well as here in the book names like Terence McKenna, Dennis McKenna, Dr. Joe Dispenza, obviously Rick Strassman, Andrew Gallimore, and there are social media voices and researchers like Hamilton Morris and Joe Rogan that are doing a good job in getting at least a discussion to be had. Speaking from my own personal experience, many people are uncomfortable talking about DMT, psychedelics, or simply just don't know much about them. I think one of the biggest fears that people have is the legal status. Now, that's something I don't see changing anytime soon. However, that being said, the attitude around marijuana, around psilocybin mushrooms, I think the overall feel of society is that these plant-based medicines and psychedelics in general are worth exploring. I think with DMT or any psychedelics or anything that has an illegal status is just don't do anything stupid. Don't sell it. Don't drive with it. Don't manufacture any more than you can actually use. Don't be giving it to people. If you are going to make enough for your own personal use, keep it as such, and don't do anything stupid with it. I also write in the chapter, a valid hindrance for many people thinking about using DMT for the first time is the idea of frying your brain and never being able to return to your normal way of processing life. DMT will fry your brain, and you won't ever be able to return back to your normal way of processing life. That is the whole point. Keeping with this analogy, DMT will crank up the heat in your brain to allow the congealed blockages to melt away. The increased metaphorical temperature and activity in your brain will provide the conditions needed to synthesize and orchestrate grandiose ideas, as well as lubricate the logistical chain that conveys your thoughts out to the universal distribution hub. Your brain will certainly get cooked, and by that I imply zero negative connotations. Instead, I suggest that your cognitive organ will benefit from DMT's consumption and proper use. As far as not returning back to your normal way of filtering information, I assure you that you will not want to go back to your chilled, uncooked, doughy brain. And I mean that. I think one of the most important aspects of DMT is that it does change your perspective. It does allow your brain to have different synaptic connections, and it does allow you to process information in a new way. I don't think that your brain gets destroyed or fried. I do think, though, however, that it gets enhanced. I know in my case, as well as in many others, that difference in perspective shift and the difference in having your brain work in a different way is exactly what I was looking for and exactly what I needed. I think one of the biggest obstacles is just basic information about DMT that's available to the general public. And that's why sharing the message, having a dialogue, having conversations about psychedelics, DMT, plant based medicines, and honestly just other methods of dealing with mental health issues, addiction issues, trauma, stress, is the whole purpose of this book and the conversations that I'm trying to have. There are certainly more unanswered questions than agreed upon conclusions. I don't think anybody that's explored DMT says that they have all the answers or truly understand fully the potential of what this molecule can do. That being said, we need more data points, we need more conversations, we need more research labs, more PhD students, and overall intellectual curiosity about the potential of not only psychedelics but humans in general and what is our next step of human evolution. And it's not a self-destructive path of alcohol, prescription pills, and driving ourselves into the ground with self-limitations. So again, thank you for the interest in the story. Thank you for having this conversation. Thank you for continuing the dialogue. And if anybody is interested in talking to me personally, sharing their stories, my email address is booksbyadambutler@gmail.com, and I'd love to hear your story, or if there's any way you think I can help, I'd be more than happy to spend some time with you. And thanks to all of you that have made this journey of mine of being an author and talking about my personal bullshit worthwhile, meaningful, and honestly adding quite a bit of happiness and content to my life. So thank you.